The major issues. Hi, everybody. Pasta Jardula here. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, and I'm Fiorella.
I'm not a cat. Neither is Jonny Tsunami, who's spinning on those ones and twos. Fam, I'm not a cat.
Pasta just, last night, yeah.
Look, Trey Wright jumps on the Rokfin. Trey Wright comes out, love, bada, throws down a Finsky for the fam. That's like Finsky for the fam. That's what he does. We love you, Trey Wright. Thank you so much. I don't know, because my mama raised me that way. Hi, Mom. I love you, Mom. And also, hi, Mama June. Mama June in Georgia. We love you, too. It's Saturday, Catterday, fam. I'm pumped. I'm amped. I'm ready to rock and roll.
No. Never. Pasta thinks I brought a ghost.
You did bring a ghost.
No, and he
house.
thinks there's a ghost upstairs, and there's
seance
not.
Bullshit.
There's not a ghost.
Ever
upstairs.
since then, there's been crazy cats like Pet Cemetery outside my window at 4:00 in the morning. Yeah, I have to go out there and stop them from fighting.
He's superstitious.
Shit is falling around the house. Doors feel like they're opening. Handles and thing. Fan weather seance.
It's Rush Limbaugh.
No. We'd be missing stuff out of the refrigerator if it was the ghost of Rush. Oh, a fat joke. I don't like making fun of the dead, but that was a funny joke. But I don't. Anyways, fam, thank you very much for everybody who's joined on in. We have 16 watching on the Rokfin. On YouTube's, we have 80 people watching. But we want you to do is we want you to share the Rokfin because they are for the people. And we will talk about Birdie today. And our good friend, Nira. I don't know. Now, Mana Talk says, pasta is a ball of cosmic energy.
Wow.
Steve Cutler says pasta is straight pumped. They know it. We're pumped. We had an awesome cartoon made about us. We showed it on the last show. If you haven't seen it yet, go over to our Instagram or our fam's Twitter, and it's up there. It's awesome. I look like a great George Carlin meets Harrison Ford. Johnny Suit looks like a badass, like he's going to kick some people's asses. And Fiorella is getting a little scared because the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome crowd is coming to attack us. Do I look scared? So she put her hand on my shoulders like, I know you got me.
Yeah, I told them, I said, guys, that's the only inaccuracy. Other than that, like, it'd be like pasta being scared. Like, that would be the reality of the situation. We know because that's what happened at the Capitol. But okay.
Why you gotta bring up old shit? I was worried about my team
or Portland.
Because Johnny got right up in the face of the feds. Like we're like Johnny. Johnny turned around and was like, and goes right back and puts his face right in the feds with the camera. It was like Jesus Christ. I was like at least 20 feet behind him when those feds were out there guarding a federal building, fam, that needed to be guarded in the middle of a homeless encampment.
Yeah.
Because we have to fight Antifa. It was so stupid. Probably one of the worst moves that Donald Trump ever made while under his presidency was sending those feds there. That shit was just so stupid. It blew up in his face. Unconstitutionally.
It divided people further.
Totally. Illegally detaining people without reading them their rights. Bullshit. Unmarked cars. Don't want to get into that. One of the worst things that happened during his presidency was pretty bad. Let's talk about Maricopa, though, fam, because nobody's talking about Arizona.
Nobody is literally talking about this, guys, except that radio show.
Yes, in Arizona. The locals.
Yeah.
The locals and us. That's it. Nobody in the mainstream, nobody in the independent tip. Nobody's talking about this, so we need you guys to talk about this stuff. Spread the news, because there's a lot of interesting things going on. I don't know if they're waiting for help from the federal government, fam. If that bill passes eventually, maybe the federal government can go in there and try to do something, but I doubt. It's a past election. We have a state senate that has a hard-on for a real audit, a third-party independent audit. They know they've never seen one of these. They want one. They want to open up the books. They want to check the work. They are currently blocking it right now. But let's get into this right now and talk about, let's give a little up-to-date about what happened and where we're at with this one. Okay, so the Maricopa County, Arizona. Is it or is it not an audit? Arizona audit. We last left off with a lone state senator flipping his vote to hold the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors in contempt, essentially allowing, only for the time being, the board to avoid an independent audit in which the Senate was seeking. Oh, that was my Darth Vader voice.
You have to go overact on this, Sam. Come on.
However, even though things may have stalled in the Senate, the Libertarian Party has now seen their day in court, as they claim not only was it not an audit, the audit was not an audit, but their party had every right to be in the room while it was conducted. And since the lone senator flipped, the people of Maricopa County have gone recall crazy and are now gathering signatures to boot out not only the 5 members of the board, but the Secretary of State, the Superintendent, and Governor Ducey as well. P.S. Die, rebel scum. I just wanted to do that, really. That was like my Star Wars thing. But pretty much
we are. The empire is crumbling. By the way, this is not going to be able to happen as easily if that For the People act passes.
Yeah.
Because it will give more power to Congress,
Yep.
who and the federal government, obviously, than the states. So,
yeah. Well, here's the thing: what they have to do, if in fact, and a lot of people say, why don't they want this audit? They're hiding something. 22 months, right? That's the federal law. 22 months, the material has to be held on for. That means ballot images, ballots, any envelopes they took mail-in ballots out of. They have to keep all this stuff for 22 months. Unless, of course, you're Brenda Snipes and you can destroy it and get away with it. So Ron DeSantis came in and said, give me your resignation because you're out of here. But other than that, they got to run out the clock, fam. Mm-hmm. So I think if that congressional bill does get passed, they're going to try to say, well, they don't have to do this anymore. They'll go back to the courts and say this was a previous election before the bill came out. They'll stall, and try to get past the 22 months and get rid of everything. I think that's the plan. But the people of Arizona they're pushing hard, right? And let's be honest now. The Maricopa County officials have said, the election officials, that this is an audit. And if you look at their Facebook right here, you'll see it right there. The second one, let's hope they didn't take anything down. The second one, it says, the first auditing firm returned to Maricopa County. The next one, and you can see people, day 5 of the second independent auditors completing checking. It's all over their Facebook. Audit. And even the next article I have up over here, fam. Oh, shit. See, they're taking shit down, right? Wow. Maricopa County, the Board of Supervisors approves an extensive audit of election equipment. So they've been flossing, telling the people, listen, what's wrong with your state senate? We had these audits, fam. We've been doing these audits. Tell them to get off our back. It's sufficient enough. We've already proved that, I got to get back on the YouTube eventually. I just turned it off. There it is. They've had all these audits. They don't need another audit. Tell the Senate to just shut up. So now the Libertarian Party, as we know, had gotten their day in court and said, hey, listen, we want to make sure that we were in the room. If there's any type of procedural things going on, audit. So this is out of the Arizona Independent News Network, and there's a little video in here, and this is interesting because this is almost the exact situation, ladies and gentlemen, that happened in Florida. If you don't remember the Bruce Spiva situation, the Democratic lawyers in Florida, when Bernie Sanders supporters, not Bernie Sanders himself, supporters sued, saying that the Democratic Party didn't abide by their charter and bent the rules, and therefore they wanted their money back and they wanted them to be held accountable. Well, what Bruce Spiva said in that courtroom is, well, technically, the Democratic Party can go in the back room, filled with cigar smoke, and pick whoever they want. Mm-hmm. Technically, they were right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was up to a judgment call. Does the judge want to say they have to abide by their charters? But technically, by their rules, it was a corporation and they can do what they want. So not on standing, shut down the case, move on. This almost the same exact thing happened here in Arizona, fam. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors says it's an audit. The state Senate says, no, it's not an audit. It's a logic and accuracy test, which me and Johnny saw yesterday in L.A. Funny story. So they were gaslighting the people, but it says, when is an audit of an election not an election audit? And this is so great for him because pretty much the Maricopa County lawyer was late. He showed up in a jumpsuit. He didn't say, I'm not a cat, but he showed up late. He acted like he didn't know. He acted like he didn't know they had the case, that he was just told early, just wasn't told in time, but he was served. He was summoned. And you got to listen to what he says right here, what now and stuff. Remember now, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors has been saying all over their Facebook, been telling the people of Maricopa, the second largest county in the United States behind the United States, almost 3 million votes, that they've been giving an audit. Look what the lawyer says to the case where the Libertarian Party says we deserve to be in the room. Go ahead.
You may have heard we're involved in litigation with the Senate right now. That is very fast-paced, and Mr. Kielski, I simply have not had the time to make the phone call to you. Again, I didn't realize there was this hearing today. You're on my list. But we dispute the premise of Mr. Kielski and the Libertarian Party's complaint that an audit of an election is occurring that would be subject to the laws that Mr. Kielski has cited. And I can explain now to the court, or I can explain offline to Mr. Kielski why we dispute that premise.
There you go.
But I wanted to be noted, I guess, we don't agree with the underlying facts. We think that there are some facts in the dispute. Nevertheless, we do think that the court can decide this as a matter of law. We don't believe that those disputed facts will really preclude the court from.
Pretty much, he said we dispute the fact that an audit is taking place.
Right.
So they're trying to say that it's not an audit and that the
Right.
Libertarian Party had no right to be there.
Right.
Pause it.
Yes.
If I'm understanding this correctly.
Yeah.
The deputy county attorney, the public counsel for the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
Yes.
The lawyer
Yes.
who represents Maricopa County.
Yes. The Board of
Says
Supervisors.
that Wednesday told him the judge Wednesday that the county's much touted audit is actually not really an election audit.
Yes.
So on Facebook, they've been calling it an audit.
Yes.
They've been showing this video saying, "Oh, look, yeah, second independent audit at Maricopa Maricopa vote," and then the lawyer just said that it wasn't an audit.
Bingo.
They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, but they're stupid because by saying it's not they're trying to say that the libertarians can't do this because it's not an audit. But by saying that it's not an audit, you're admitting that this is a fugazi process and it's not a fucking audit, and you need to do a real audit. You can't have it both ways. It's ridiculous.
They're gonna.
We live in a fucking cartoon. We need Steve's voice ingrained into the thing so we can play. We live in a fucking cartoon. Can you do this, Steve?
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, we live in a cartoon. And if I had an opportunity, I'd smack this lawyer right across the face with a giant mackerel. And then I would smack Tom Hartman's Padawan across the face, who's trying to be the first male host on The View. But anyways, that's my Steve. But listen, fam, I mean, Johnny, come on now. This is
crazy.
comical shit right now.
Yeah.
Here comes the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, right? Now, we played a lot of videos on the last subject when we were talking about. We gave you the run up to what's happening. Pretty much the state Senate's been like, no, we want a third party independent audit. They've been telling the Board of Supervisors, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, that your audits are really not an audit. It's a logic and accuracy test. They've been gaslighting the people, telling everybody everywhere that, oh, no, we've been doing audits left and right. We even had a reporter come after and attack me that she now wants us to pay for her article. Not happening. From the Arizona Central, whatever she writes from, whatever. There's people out there, you have the little Democratic minions carrying water for the Democratic Party.
She wrote that whole article trying to boost the audits.
Yep.
And it's not a fucking audit.
The lawyer just said it was
Come at me, bro. Come at us. Come on.
Oh
we'll fight ya. Literally, this is crazy.
Okay. So this is crazy. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get this case thrown out, right? And they're trying to really avoid having an audit. And the fact is that they're going to try to move the goalpost and says, well, this is an audit, but it's not the official type of audit we have to have that, makes it that they have to be in the room, because different states have different law when it comes to oversight. Believe it or not, California's oversight is supposed to be deemed on the people, right? Florida is one of those states, and a lot of states in the East Coast, when it's up to the candidates if they want to protest. In Arizona, the oversight is kind of kicked to the parties, meaning that all parties have to be in the room, Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian Party. The Green Party hasn't been recognized there, unfortunately. What's up, Howie Hawkins? So therefore, they don't have to be in the room. But those three major parties that are registered with the state have to be in the room when there's any type of audit, any type of moving of the material, any type of going into the machines whatsoever. It's kind of like we went through the other day. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you have to have oversight over here. But once again, in California, it's on the people. So it's up to us to show up. Arizona, parties. And that's something important to remember. But this story gets a little bit juicier, fam, before we just get on out of this story right now. We have a little video because here's the thing. The state Senate was like, you know what? We're done playing games. I'm not going to subpoena the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. We're going to go to the state secretary treasurer, and we're going to get them right from them. So they go over to the state secretary treasurer, and guess what? They never handed over the ballots. They kept the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
That's part of the law. They're supposed to turn the ballots over to the treasurer.
Boom!
Arizona law.
You hear it?
Arizona code.
Election's over. Turned on over to the treasury. So they're even avoiding that. Check out this one really video, and then we'll get you out of the subject, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on, because we don't know where we're going to go from here if the court if the case gets tossed out. But now they're having they're going into this like a fine little details right now, tooth comb, and they're pulling up everything right now until they get this audit. They're being relentless. They're still getting signatures to recall all these people. So take a look at this last part right here.
Why are the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors not in jail? The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors is required by law to hand the ballots over to the county's treasurer after the election is canvassed. This is the law. Yet, this reportedly has not happened.
Because statute states this: as soon as the election is canvassed and certified, everything's supposed to be sealed, it's supposed to go in their vault, and the county treasurer is supposed to sign for that because he's the custodian. Well, the county supervisors never turned it over to the treasurer. Why? Because they said there's ongoing litigation. Well, the new treasurer hasn't taken custody of it either, because they're saying we need to hold on to this because of ongoing litigation or an audit. The county supervisors have control of this. They've never even turned it over to the treasurer. And by the way, that's a violation of the election procedural manual, and that's a class 2 misdemeanor.
There's a requirement in Arizona law that the ballots themselves are to be placed in the custody of the state treasurer after the canvassing of the ballot, so the official sign off on the ballot. That never happened. The state treasurer has been subpoenaed also to produce the ballots. He basically told the Senate, look, I'd love to comply. I don't have them yet. They haven't been sent to me. That's class 2 misdemeanor.
The people in Arizona are waking up to the shenanigans being pulled by the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. Maybe that's the reason why, on February 11th, an emergency meeting was held by the board. Minutes from the meeting state, Andrea Cummings stated that the emergency was due to the need for the board to receive legal advice with the treasurer and the recorder regarding recent and ongoing events in the legislature related to the elections and potential legal ramifications. The problem for the Board of Supervisors is that they are currently breaking the law. The law states after the county canvass is complete, the officer in charge of elections must seal the voted ballots and deliver them and official returns to the county treasurer or a secure facility contracted by the treasurer. If voting equipment produces digital ballot images, the digital ballot images must be retained and preserved in the same manner.
This is something that needs to be looked at, and I think the Attorney General's office needs to look at this, because it's basically a crime scene now. We know it is.
Back in January, the former Maricopa County Treasurer resigned, citing a toxic environment in county government. Flora was set to leave office in mid-January, but said he was unable to complete his term, in part because, quote, the political environment at the county has become so toxic I have no desire to endure further abuse. Flora also said in his letter he intends to participate in the recall of the supervisors. The ballots from this county should have been handed over to the treasurer weeks ago. What is going on?
What the actual fudge? You see, Mom, it's the way they language nowadays. It's just a different time. You know what I'm saying, Ma? Sorry. But what the hell is going on in Maricopa? And listen, ladies and gentlemen, we always talk about this. We're not trying to be the Cracker Jack case. We've busted the case open. We caught you. We're trying to fix our elections moving forward. I think this is going to be a great blueprint on the things that we need to continue to look at and make sure these things are followed. And that won't only happen in Arizona. It's going to happen in other states because we, the people, need to look into this stuff. What's going on over here is pretty disgusting. They're stopping an audit. The state Senate wants this audit on behalf of the people who are saying, listen, we don't care if Donald Trump won or Joe Biden won. We just want it to be fair. We want to know what's what. They want to see it. And we never get these things. The whole object from the legislation, I think, who could be the ones who are, moving the needle in their favor, is to get the stuff through the machines, seal up all your ballots and information, and put it away. I just want to point out, too, as well, fam, the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors has flipped 3 times. They said, we can't give you the ballots against law. And then the state Senate pointed out, it's like, we're not asking for the actual physical ballots. We're asking for the ballot images, which is legal. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll give you the ballots. And say, okay, where's our ballots? Oh, we're not giving you the ballots now. They've gone back and forth and back and forth. And I know this is like nothing to when Jonny talks about this stuff because he's worked with this case with Raji. It's just constantly stall tactics, moving the goalposts, not letting people in to see what's what. That's what's going on now. That's how our elections are set up, and this is something we need to fight.
Absolutely, fam. I'm with you.
That's it.
Yep, that's it. No. I mean, we've said everything there is to say. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Guys, we're the only ones covering this. This is...
Yeah. And we're going to stay on top of this. Brandon Slayton, who is the chairman of the Libertarian Party, I reached out to him to speak to him. John Brakey, who's been uncovering this case, helping out the Libertarian Party, helping out some of the Republicans get on, because I think it's called an amicus brief, where the Libertarians were suing for the right to be in there, and the Republicans jumped on. They even reached out to the Democratic Party of Arizona and Maricopa, and they said no. They're like, nah, we'll take a pass. Of course not team players, but everybody's getting involved in this. The pressure is on, so we're going to keep our eyes on Arizona, ladies and gentlemen, and give you up-to-dates to see what's happening. Like we said, nobody's really covering this outside the people in Arizona, where you get a little local channel, little radio channels, and that one dude you saw in that video right there, Prescott News. That's it. Otherwise, people are just kind of avoiding this and not going into it. So I'm going to read some super rays real quick, and we'll get on to the next subject. Holla Ishmael. How you doing? Holla. I got to holla at Holla. Love you, Holla. Thank you so much. Love your tweets. Love you watching. Brian Deutsch. A Deutsch. Thank you for talking about it. The only ones doing it. We were at where was it, True Food the other day, thinking about you, brother. Holla again. Holla and Holla. Sorry about that. Let's try with the correct amount. Wow, Holla.
Thank you.
Ooh, Holla. Thank you so much. And T-Can, we also received a tip. Thank you so much. Tony watches closely. Here's a very eye-opening article about the man behind the Great Reset. Oh, my, Tony, don't get my heart pumping thinking about the Great Reset. It's like the great takeover of sorts.
Yeah.
The emperor will completely rule. Guys, you're on YouTube on this beautiful Saturday. There's 325 of you. Get on over to the Rokfin for free. Rokfin. We know about censorship, what YouTube's doing to us. Rokfin is our home, away from home now. It's where we go so we can speak our minds without the hand over our mouths saying censorship. Fam, let's talk about your favorite Democrat in the Senate, Joe Manchin.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys made bets or if you guys went to Vegas and bet that Joe Manchin would be the one to be against Tanden and not Bernie Sanders. But I mean, I don't know what
Cartoon?
you guys call it, like how much money people would have lost.
The odds.
The odds.
I'm talking about the odds were very high.
Yeah.
That Joe Manchin would be the one calling out, instead of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, the odds. Yeah, exactly. Or, yeah. Well, he wouldn't. Nobody would predict that he would. But he is. He's actually said that he's going to vote no on Tanden's nomination for the Office of Management and Budget. And he said this yesterday. And this is really interesting because she was supposed to be, it was going to be up to Bernie. People were pretty much waiting on Bernie. Bernie has indicated that he's going to talk to Tanden, but he hasn't indicated that he... other people have indicated, Newsweek said that he's likely to vote for her, but she's going to need at least one Republican vote to be confirmed at this point because of Joe Manchin. So this is why it's such a big deal, because now a Republican has to vote for her, which is crazy. Now, if Bernie votes no, then she officially doesn't get it. So if Bernie votes yes on this, I think a lot of people that maybe weren't done with him before are going to be done with him now.
Wait a second. So Bernie can be the deciding factor. If Bernie says niet, no?
No. But he needs,
Manchin?
If Bernie votes for her,
no, if he votes no.
She needs, if Bernie votes for her, she still needs one. At least one. But if Bernie doesn't vote for her, she needs at least two, and she's not going to get that.
So really, to tell you the truth, Bernie holds the axe right now to behead or to not.
Exactly.
And we would think that he would behead, not just because of the way Tanden treated him, but her policy, right? Yeah.
So Manchin specifically said in the article, I believe her overtly partisan statements will have a toxic and detrimental impact on the important working relationship between members of Congress and the next director of Office of Management and Budget. And this is the first time a Senate Democrat has announced opposition to a Biden cabinet nominee. So it's really interesting that this is going to happen. So
it had to be Joe Manchin.
It had to be Joe Manchin. I mean, this guy is a neoliberal piece of shit. Like, I'm telling you, he's awful. He's one of my least, he's one of the people that I just hate in the Democratic Party. Like, he's just awful. He's awful. And he's in West Virginia.
Yep, I was going to say he's in West Virginia.
Yeah, and he's, just talk to West Virginians and ask them how they feel about Joe Manchin. Yeah. I mean,
the progressives
awful,
can't stand him there.
You could run a Republican, you could run a progressive, and they have a shot to win. I mean, Joe Manchin cheats too, but that's That's the thing. But what I'm saying is this is the last thing we expected. And oh my God, it's like Bernie, if you vote for Neera Tanden, I mean, there is no justification, guys. People are like, well, if he doesn't do it, they're going to say he's sexist and racist. It's like, they already say that. They've been saying that for the last 6 years. What are you talking about?
They're gonna
What
say
are
that?
you talking about? They've been
Assholes.
fucking saying that.
Wow.
Who cares? Do not make excuses for fucking Bernie here. I'm sick and tired of all these burners making excuses for fucking Bernie. If he votes yes on Neera Tanden, that goes against everything he fucking stands for. He already voted yes on a bunch of warmongers like Avril Haines and Anthony Blinken, which was already horrible enough. But we're talking about Libya needs to pay us. Neera Tanden. Like, we're talking about that.
Well, that was my question to you, fam, is a lot of people say, well, it's a personal attack, and that's why Bernie's going to put it aside. But it's not really a personal attack.
It's not.
It's Neera Tanden's policies. She's against everything that the progressives stood for, and she would constantly go on, mock, yell, and whatnot. And it wasn't the mocking or the way she kind of treated the progressives. It was her actual ideology that sucks. And, like, once again, Libya is one of the biggest ones, because that just is one, like, wow, this person shouldn't be involved in our Congress whatsoever.
Yeah.
When she says that, well, you know, Libya has a lot of oil. Like, are you serious what you're saying? And also, fam, I just want to point out right now, too, as well, that I'm not upset with Bernie anymore. I'm upset with the people who are still standing up for Bernie regardless of this shit. And let's get into that, because I know you got a lot of stuff to talk about. So
okay, so this guy, Dr. Fishbone, said progressive hero Joe Manchin did more to torpedo Neera Tanden's nomination than Bernie, AOC, and the squad.
Progressive hero Joe Manchin.
I
love this guy.
That is a truth. That is a truth. That is a truth. I mean, you can't get away from
like
that,
that,
right? You can't, like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? We do live in a fucking cartoon.
Now, I believe that AOC did congratulate her at one point in the very beginning or something on a tweet or some shit.
Did.
So that was kind of, when we saw that shit, we were like, wow. And Elizabeth Warren as well, congratulated.
Of course, yeah. So this is Levy Sanders, and he said, while Senator Manchin opposes an increase in the minimum wage to $15 an hour, as well as tuition-free public colleges and universities, Medicare for all, and a serious college debt reduction, Rokfin, his opposition to Neera Tanden is necessary and welcome. So he's trying to say that it's necessary. His opposition is good. Like, his opposition is good. And even though all of this is bad, because the whole debate on the left was like, oh, like, we shouldn't be cheering on Joe Manchin. And it's like, well, you're not cheering on Joe Manchin. Nobody's denying who he is, that he's a neoliberal with terrible policies. But people are cheering on the fact that, well, yeah, stop Neera Tanden. I mean, I don't give a fuck who you are. Stop Neera Tanden. Like, it's so important for us to be doing that, right? And it's just interesting to me that some people are still like, no, we shouldn't be like acting like this is supporting Joe Manchin. You can like recognize what he is and who he is and say the fact that Joe Manchin is saying no to Neera Tanden and Sanders and the squad haven't, like, is crazy to me, right?
Can I ask a question, guys? Because I'm kind of curious and stuff like that. What do you of the thought process that, hey, listen, Joe Biden won the presidency. He should have a right to his nominees. And that, therefore, you know, they shouldn't, especially party people like Joe Manchin in the Democratic Party, who's also opposed to, like, stimulus checks, by the way, too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's freaking awful. Fam is not lying when she said he's one of the worst. But the Democratic Party should go along with their leader and letting him pick his nominees.
It's not about
party. A lot of people say that.
It's not about party. It's not about like your loyalty to a fucking like emblem of a party. It's about what is the right thing to do, what the people need. It's about staying true to what you have espoused this whole time.
Yeah.
It's if you're constantly putting loyalty of party or loyalty to individual politicians, like then the game isn't about your loyalty to your people. Like you're supposed to be a public servant. Your relationships are only in as a politician are only as important as what they're doing for people. But it's become that they're important for themselves now, and enriching themselves and getting whatever it is that they want instead of representing people. They don't represent people. They represent their own interests. So this is the problem with the system. Like you can't You can't do that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that if it was just about the president being able to pick the people who he wants to work with, they wouldn't even have a nomination process in the first place. So it's the fact they do have a nomination process, the checks and balance do rely within the Congress, and they have every right to do what they're doing, especially what Joe Manchin is doing.
And ex-comrade said, LOL, Biden says he's going to stick with near attendance for OMB despite Manchin's objection. So Biden won't stand up to Joe Manchin for a $15 minimum wage, but he'll stand up to him for near attendant.
We're gonna like that one. Ooh,
and
like
that's
that one.
I mean, Biden said he's gonna continue pushing near attendant. So it's interesting to me what Biden decides to stand for and what Biden does not.
I need an LMAO from Johnny.
So Kimber Maddox said,
Kimber,
if you had told me last month that the Justice Democrats leadership would be praising Neera Tanden while Joe Manchin voted against her confirmation, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But as a great and wise man once said, we live in a fucking cartoon.
We live in a fucking cartoon.
So I had to put that one in there.
Of course you do.
And then Ron Placone with some words of wisdom. By the way, check out Ron Placone's video he shared today that we did. Okay, so he said, I like how the Joe Manchin / Neera Tanden thing means we've reached the best you can hope for is that an awful person does the right thing for all the wrong reasons level of American politics. Though we've been there for a while.
He's a master on Twitter, this guy.
Some wise words from Ronald there.
From Ronnie P.
Ronald Plaquan, Team Plaquan.
Team Plaquan. Do we have any more? We got another
one. Last one, and then I want to get into the specifics of what the Justice Democrats said because they're just Democrats.
Misty.
So Misty said, so Joe Manchin is going to be the one to save us from Neera Tanden. We live in a fucking cartoon. So I'm just pointing out that we live in a fucking cartoon.
But it is crazy when you think about it. There's no way, we would have thought any of this stuff would happen, that Joe Manchin would be the one holding up Neera Tanden's nomination. I mean, this is ridiculous. And Bernie Sanders is still being the cuck of all cucks. Like I said, I'm not even disappointed in Bernie Sanders anymore. I'm done being disappointed in him. That ship has sailed a long time ago. But I am disappointed in a lot of the progressives that we talk about, fam, that are standing up for Bernie Sanders' decision and just saying the fact that
excuses. You can. I'm not asking you to hate Bernie Sanders. You can still like the guy, but you need to understand when he does something wrong and not try to justify it just because. Yeah. Your personal feelings for Sanders. Like this has to be done. You have to be able to do that. Otherwise, he's a politician. He's not supposed to be this celebrity. And I think people have become sycophants to that entire creation of him. So Pat the Burner posted this because they're going to do a hashtag in the next few days. Hashtag stop Neera Tanden, hashtag reject Neera Tanden. So that's going to be going on. And he said, what the fuck is wrong with Justice Democrats? Here's Alexandra Saria on CNN today criticizing Joe Manchin for not supporting neoliberal villain Neera Tanden. She's a Justice Democrat leadership. So
Alexandra Rosas. I got the Spanish names here, fam.
We have some breaking news for you now. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia just announced that he will vote against President Biden's pick to lead the Office of Management and Budget, Neera Tanden, putting her nomination in jeopardy. Manchin saying in a statement, in part, quote, I have carefully reviewed Neera Tanden's public statements and tweets that were personally directed towards my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, from Senator Bernie Sanders to Senator Mitch McConnell and others. I believe her overtly partisan statements will have a toxic and detrimental impact on the important working relationship between members of Congress and the next director of the Office of Management and Budget. Let's bring in our panel. Alexandra Rojas, this would be Biden's first defeat, and obviously a defeat for Neera Tanden personally because of a bunch of tweets she's done that were rather harsh.
Yeah, and I mean, there's public record of those tweets, but the reality is I think that Joe Manchin is the one being divisive right now. We are in the middle of a public pandemic. Joe Biden was just elected by a huge mandate. By the American people. We have to deliver as Democrats, and we need people in positions of power who are ready and prepared to go big in this moment and not leave anyone behind. The mentality has got to be of the Democratic Party especially, but any elected official, that we have to move quickly to save as many lives as possible. And I would also point out that he had no problem voting to confirm other appointments of clearly partisan members when it was the previous Republican administration. There should be no, I think, opposition to some, folks that are being proposed by the Biden administration who have, clearly are ready to do the work and are ready to get the job done, and they feel are the best prepared to do it.
And Mary Catherine, I mean, it needs to be pointed out, the Republican resistance, I'm not...
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, can we go to her profile? You went to her profile, right? She does commentary. Where does it say?
Commentator on CNN.
On CNN.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, if
of the Justice Democrats.
Yeah, executive director. Let me just say this. If you are in fact an organization that is a threat to the Democratic establishment, that is a threat to the status quo, that is actually going to buck the system and get working people the power that they need, you will not be propped up by CNN. Yeah. You will not be able to proudly put on your fucking profile that you are a CNN commentator. Yeah. You will not also say bullshit that Joe Biden was elected by the democracy of this country, and that there's people in the Biden administration who are working really hard to act now to get things done, when literally Biden has backed up from every single thing he fucking promised. How dare you get on CNN, like the literal epitome of corporate propaganda, stenographers, and lie and say that, these people, they're working hard. Joe Manchin is being divisive. You're using the same CIA talking points that these people used on Sanders supporters. Or they're being divisive by, wanting fucking health care for all. Yep. Something as simple as in a pandemic. We are in the middle of a pandemic. And Joe Biden has denied people health care, has denied people a stimulus, is still using ICE. He'd received $5 million, which we're going to talk about, from fucking ICE. What exactly is he doing for the progressive movement? Justice Democrats is an organization that has long been co-opted, is completely and utterly corrupt. If you actually want to change the system, you stay the hell away from Justice Democrats. I mean, this is what they are. They're there to herd people, progressives, back into the Democratic Party.
And exactly. I was going to say every aspect of the progressive movement that has joined the Democratic Party has been co-opted and taken over. Bottom line, Justice Democrats were supposed to be the purple shirts, brand new Congress, kind of work together, progressives going against the grain, going against the mainstream media. But now they've been co-opted, and in fact, their executive director is a regular on CNN. What does that tell you? People, progressives, wake up. You've been fooled. You've been duped. Leave that goddamn party. Leave it now. Leave it quickly, because they don't care about you. And unfortunately, Bernie Sanders has just really failed us. But fam, I love the whole point. Like, how dare that Joe Manchin stop the American people from allowing Tina Tanden to get on and save us in the middle of this pandemic? Tina Tanden's on her way to. How dare they stop Tina Tanden from saving us? If
Tina Tanden asked Libya to pay for their own oil, what do you think Tina Tanden's going to ask the American people to do? Yeah. Like, seriously. Yeah. And not to mention the fact that this is just their name, Justice Democrats. There's no justice in the Democratic Party. Yeah. So you're just Democrats. I'm going to call them the Just Democrats.
Just Democrats.
Just Democrats. That's what they are. They're just Democrats.
ICE.
Get the
Just
ICE
Democrats.
out of there.
Brand new Congress has been co-opted. Every single part has been co-opted of this movement. It seems the squad has been either co-opted or was a plan from the get-go. And Bernie just ain't the Bernie of old. I'm really, really sorry. And in this next tweet over here, fam, we put this up not to go after this individual, but to go after the behavior of this. And it's still going on. Fam, we're mitigating damage. We're mitigating damage. We had to get rid of the worst, most racist president of all times. We're mitigating damage by going along with these Democrats and still praising Bernie Sanders. Here, Katie Halper says this guy is a fucking mensch who refuses to personalize the confirmation of someone who smeared him and whose friends tweeted that he should die. Let me say this much, and usually she's on point. I really like her, but that's bullshit. He's no longer a mensch. Stop with the whole mensch thing. Bernie Sanders is not a mensch. He has let us down, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I'm not mad at the people I'm not mad at Bernie Sanders anymore. I'm not disappointed in them. I'm disappointed in stuff like this where we still prop it up. Now, you did come back and mention some stuff, but fam, the reason why we don't like Tina Tanden is not because she just personally smeared Bernie Sanders.
Right, it's because of Libya. Yeah, and I think
and every other financial decision when she was the paperwork, she was the secretary along the Clinton initiative, and every single thing they did, they're so corrupt, and now you want to sit there and say, oh, Bernie Sanders is not taking this personally, he's making a decision based upon leaving his personal feelings out of it and doing what's right of sorts. Like, no, I mean, it's just not the way it is.
Yeah.
He's not a mensch. Stop it.
I just think it's irrelevant now what you feel about Bernie Sanders when he does something wrong. This is wrong. There's no gallivanting. Oh, poor Bernie. He's just trying. No, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to vote for Neera Tanden. Stop making excuses for Bernie. Even if you like him, stop making fucking excuses. That's it. This is voting for Neera Tanden would be absolutely just completely going against. It would be a fuck you to all his supporters who endured years of actual bullshit from her. Yes. But more than anything, the policies she's pushing, the both in foreign and domestic, would be disastrous to the progressive movement, would be a step backwards. It would show that somebody like her could fail up, which I guess is what happens in D.C., go against everything the progressive movement stands for, and then yet get the stamp of approval from the guy that's supposed to be representing that movement, Bernie Sanders. It's just, it would destroy the credibility, any credibility that's left in that.
And since the great plan of 2016 to invade the party as progressives, the Democratic Party that is, and change it from the inside, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. This is right in your face right now. This is the approval of a Clintonite, of the Clinton wing of the Democratic Party, getting their person paid for play kind of mentality in there and whatnot. And, I thought there would just be a line in which Bernie Sanders would say, enough is enough. I am not confirming Neera Tanden. No way. So, yeah.
Wait, Johnny.
It's just funny that Neera Tanden, the biggest shitstorm is being done for Neera Tanden when Bernie's mittens have already confirmed.
Blinken, Avril
Haines,
Austin Lloyd.
Got it.
Austin Lloyd.
Yeah.
So
all of them. I mean, yeah. But I mean, this is even a little bit more right now too, as well, because you thought this is public enemy number one against the Bernie campaign. Her tweets in 2016, the end of 2015, during 2016, they were just awful. And it wasn't just personally going after Bernie Sanders; it was going after our whole ideology. Johnny, that's going to be we're going to kick that last video to the end, obviously. I'm going to read some, but anything else on this subject real quick before we get into this, because I want to read some super rays.
Justice Democrats. Just Democrats. Go eat a bag of Richards with
enough.
That bullshit.
I mean, when do we admit, fam, that this whole progressive movement inside the Democratic Party has failed?
It's co-opted. It's entirely co-opted. It's it. No, it doesn't work. Yeah. That's what happens. Those organizations get co-opted and propped up by CNN. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you think CNN's actually going to prop up a threat to their life, to the status quo? They're no threat. That's why they're embraced. It's the same thing with AOC. They're no threat. They're just going to continue rebranding the Democratic Party to something more young and more hip and more intersectional, but it's still going to be the same freaking bullshit of imperialist fascism that they've been espousing for a long time.
And corporatism, big time. You know what I'm saying? They're controlling everything. Who dat on the Super Ray? Who dat? Thank you so much. Who dat? They're going to beat them Saints. The cowardice of the Dems and the progressives are just sad. We know a lot of these people. We worked with a lot of activists, and I don't really talk too much with them anymore or really converse with them or go to meetings anymore, but I pay attention to their stuff online, and, seeing some of them complain about their own ADEM elections over here, going, oh my God, they're so messed up and whatnot, and we're like, really? The Democratic Party's cheating elections. You don't say so. And then you see the same people, shucks, I thought things were going to get better. No, shucks your ass. You got played, and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
They're still trying to reform the party. We're mitigating damage. We're going to come back stronger. No, you're not. You've been played. You ain't going to do shit. The Democratic Party has a corporate mechanism that will never allow grassroots activists or grassroots people to take over. I'm not saying you got to go to the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, and the MPP or something, but you do have to get the hell out of the Democratic Party, because all you're doing is you're just being a hamster in a wheel, and you think you're getting stuff done with your little virtue signaling or get to do that shit. You ain't getting nothing done. The homeless number is growing. We have almost 750,000 people homeless on the streets, right? People living paycheck to paycheck. This pandemic, they gave us gots. They gave us nothing, right? And how many people are going to have their houses foreclosed and whatnot across this country? Just, it's going to be ridiculous. And you have done nothing as the progressives within that Democratic Party. Go elsewhere. Do something. I don't care. But get the hell out of that party. And this whole mentality that the Democrats I got to read that one right here. That the Democrats are better than the Republicans. No, they both suck. They are both not worthy of trying to save. Get the hell out. Ryan Wilson, thank you for the Super Ray. Eduardo Benavides. Thank you so much, fam. I really appreciate that. He gave us a beautiful tab. Eduardo, we love you. Dame un baciora. Mwah!
What?
That's Italian.
Oh.
I would say dame un beso if I was saying Spanish. But dame un baciora.
Okay.
That's Italian, fam. I'm
right.
66% Southern Italian. I don't know if you know that. Hunter Carranza, thank you so much for the Super Ray. And look who's watching. Mike Ungerleiter. Ungie. Nero puts the twit in Twitter.
Ungie's got jokes.
Mikey the pun man Ungerleiter. He's got puns all day long.
I got a Streamlabs tip.
Oh, do it, baby. Do it. Go ahead.
Man talk. It's way past time for a massive partyexodus.org.
Yep.
Look, Man
So I
talk.
went to that website.
Let's do it. We should have a day where we all do it. And they have to, when they report their numbers, like on this certain day, like if we did it on, let's say April 14th, my birthday, everybody leaves the Democratic
The day the
Party.
Titanic sank.
The day the Titanic sunk will be the day that the Democratic Party sank, because they would have all this mass exodus of people leaving the Democratic Party.
Wow, I could see the meme now. The Democratic Party is the Titanic, and it's like breaking up, and everybody's like, ah.
All right, guys. Johnny, anything else on that? 422 people watching on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor. YouTube has demonetized us. Nothing has changed. They still haven't given us any information on what we have to do. Nada. And they really are just stopping you from giving us tips.
It started sinking on April 14th. I did a whole report on the Titanic in 9th grade.
Lincoln also got shot on the 14th.
It didn't go until the 15th, but it started on April 14th.
Yeah, it says it. It hit the iceberg on the 14th. It sunk on the 15th, okay?
Johnny, come on. I saw Titanic in theaters, okay? Come on.
God.
All right.
There was enough space for both of them on the door.
There was enough space for both of them, okay? She shouldn't have let him die.
It was dramatic.
Anyway,
the episode of Family Guy when they do that whole thing is funny too as well.
Oh my God!
The Family Guy episode's crazy.
All right.
All right, so guys, there's 420 of you. Stewie. Hello, Brian. We want you to go over to Rokfin, Brian. What the deuce? Go over to Rokfin, guys. ROKFIN. As you know, a lot of you know, we've been demonetized on YouTube. And really, to tell you the truth, 90% of our money came from Super Chats. So it wasn't even advertisement. But they even still stopped us from receiving your funds that you help us out with. And we love that because we love to be people-powered. You know what I'm saying? We don't want corporate money. We're not trying to just get more of a bigger audience. We tell our truth. We believe what we say. And the fact that you follow us on what we feel, and we ain't never going to change, right? They ain't going to be, first of all, CNBC is not coming along and offering Fee a contract or Johnny a contract or Pasta a contract. That's never going to happen. But even if they did, it's not going to change us. We have been successful telling our truth. That's why we're here. And we appreciate you following us and you funding us where we don't have to get that corporate entity. Because anybody who takes that corporate money like CNN, they're telling you what their donors want to say.
Exactly.
Okay? There's a reason why they always push war. They're always corporate. They're just party institutional players. Because that's where their bread and butter comes from. So please go over to the Rokfin, ROKFIN, sign up for free, and if you have a few bucks for $9.99 a month, you can be one of our endorsees. We have 166 of them. We're trying to get to 200 by the end of the month, so we really need your help there. If you can afford to do that, we love that and appreciate that. You're helping independent media and independent voices that are being suppressed all over the place. So go over to Rokfin. We have 64. Fam likes to have at least 100 per show, right, fam? Mm-hmm. So we need you to help us out. ROKFIN, sign up for free. All right. This one's going to be another quick little subject too as well, but I want to give you a little bit of update what's going on and put into context what happened. The Wall Street bets versus Robinhood hearing, whatever you want to call it, who won, who lost, that's what we're going to be talking about. So if you don't know, in a nutshell, the main players of the January stock jump of GameStop when it went up so high were summoned to Congress to face questions from members of Congress. They titled this event, look at this. This is on their webpage. GameStop ? Who wins and loses when short sellers, social media, and retail investors collide? Now, right off the bat, the title pisses me off because it doesn't say anything about the hedge funds or the investment banks that really kind of funded this whole thing. Now, they were invited. Let's just go over who was invited here. I have pictures of everybody so you can see what's going on. This hearing was 5.5 hours. I watched about 4.5 hours of it now. You didn't miss much. And it's important to talk about these things because you ask yourself, why are they doing these things? What are we getting out of it? And where are they going to go from there? We always seem to grab something out of it because you always have at least a couple Congress people here and there that will bring some information to light where you, the people, if you're paying attention to, can go, okay, that makes sense. Let's look at that. Let's talk about that. But really, change doesn't come out of it because a lot of times they're just yelling at the air. Yelling and screaming into the air, and then no law comes out of this. So the first one we're going to talk about was the short seller from the Melvin Group, the CEO, Gabriel Plotkin, who hardly talked, fam, but made sure that he played the victim card in his opening speech, which was 5 minutes,
Christ.
by passively insinuating that the Wall Street bet guys were being anti-Semitic.
Oh, my God.
My family, I was called a Jewish person. We got to get rid of the Jew and whatnot. So he's taking one person's, statements, which were said, which were disgusting, and that person was, I believe, was Exodus from the group. But he's trying to put that in frame, like look what they're doing to me. Yeah. I'm the victim here, even though I'm a short seller, even though my whole business is built on the misery and businesses closing down, and we can swing the public's mentality in that way to pull and sell those stocks to crash these companies. He played the victim. The next one was the social media Reddit CEO, Steve Huffman, who seemed to be pretty neutral as he stated that the platform Reddit regulates their content moderation thoroughly and fairly, and that the Wall Street bet guys didn't break any of the Reddit platform's rules, okay? He also didn't get much time to talk right there. I think he was questioned once or twice throughout the whole thing. The next guy we're going to talk about is investor Keith Gill, which is kind of funny right here from Wall Street Bets. We got a little Twitter right here. He didn't get much time to talk as well. His opening statement was awesome, and I was laughing about it with you guys. Check it out.
That my investment in that company multiplied in value many times. For that, I feel enormously fortunate. I also believe the current price of the shares demonstrates that I've been right about the company. A few things I am not. I am not a cat. I am not an institutional investor, nor am I a hedge fund. I do not have clients, and I do not provide personalized investment advice for fees or commissions. I'm just an individual whose investment in GameStop and posts on social media were based upon my own research and analysis. In early June of 2019, the price of GameStop stock declined below what I thought was its fair value. I invested in GameStop in 2019 and 2020 because, as I studied the company, I became more and more confident in my analysis. When I wrote and spoke about GameStop on social media with other individual investors, our conversations were no different from people in a bar or on a golf course or at home talking or arguing about a stock. Hedge funds and other Wall Street firms have teams of analysts working together to compile research and analyze shares of companies. Individual investors do not have those resources. Social media platforms like Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter are leveling the playing field. As for what happened in January, others will have to explain it. It's alarming how little we know about the inner workings of the market. And I am thankful that this committee is examining what happened. I also want to say that I support retail investors' right to invest in what they want, when they want. I support the right of individuals to send a message based on how they invest. As for me, I like the stock.
Okay, so now you hear the banging in the shit. Well, that's the whole freaking hearing, Johnny. I mean, I would have been like, they're like, would you please mute your mics? They're leaving their mics on. They're making noise. They're pounding. Now, remember, this is the beginning of the opening statements right now, so we don't know what to expect from this hearing, right? We don't know what Congress is going to do. There's been notes, there's been talk of that, the fact that some of these Redditors are kind of guilty of insider trading. But they really are not. I mean, if you go on a forum, it's like you're at the golf course, the bar, whatnot. You get together, let's do this, whatnot.
And the fact is, these other people do it all the time. So
they have teams to do it.
Yeah,
they have money to do it. They
just
have
as you
analysts,
pointed
you know
out.
what I'm saying? And finally, the last one was the Big Fish CEO of Citadel, which funded this fiasco. His name is Kenneth C. Griffin. You can see him right there. It's so funny because it was very obvious throughout this whole time. People were in the room with him behind the camera and out of sight. They were reading off monitors. You know, see, he was modestly attacked several times throughout the hearing. We'll get to that too as well. And of course, last but not least, fam, this guy is just creepy looking over here. Look at this way this guy looks. The CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Tenev, who was questioned repeatedly, yet found a way most times to weasel out what he had done. And what he had done was he had stopped the trading. In other words, he had stopped the buying of GameStop on the Robinhood app. It was also done on TD Ameritrade, a few other apps too as well. It's like they all got together and they decided to stop the buying of the stock, which was driving it up, only allowing it to sell, then allowing the hedge funds to go back in there and remake their money that they had lost from the actions that had taken place from the Redditors. So I'm just going to kind of point out some highlights of watching this whole thing, because really it was a waste of time. Not only did they not have their mics mute all the time, you can hear people opening sodas, dropping stuff, moving stuff, and it was very distracting. It really was nothing, again, about just yelling in the air, because they weren't going after like criminal charges. They're like, let's just bring everybody here so we can understand what would happen better. And even in the title, they don't even mention the fact that the CEO of Citadel funded this whole friggin' thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know as well as I do, investment banks aren't giving money up unless they know they're going to get return on their investment. So they had to know something was going on. There had to be something in the woodworks. They never really questioned that. But let's get into this real quick. We're going to look at some of the highlights. Now, the one thing that alarmed me the most, too, as well, and I was waiting the whole hearing to hear this, I was going to see who was going after the Redditors, who was going to say who's watching them, and who's going to push for more censorship. So here's the first one. We can see right here. Go ahead and play it. This particular congressman was questioning who in your company is watching social media.
Mr. Scott, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Lady Waters. And let me just say, Chair Lady, that the people of this country appreciate you for pulling this financial services hearing together, because this is a threat to the future of our financial system, and we got to get to the bottom of it. Let me start with you, Mr. Tenney. Let's go through this. The sequence of events that led to the extreme rise in value of GameStop stock and the subsequent market volatility originated through a Reddit discussion. And then that was fueled through social media. And as the story gained traction, tweets by well-known figures with the influence to move markets sent the stock value even higher and higher. So let me start with you, Mr. Tenney. What policies does Robinhood have in place to monitor what happened on social media and how it drives the use of your trading platforms?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. Currently, Robinhood does not perform any sort of moderation of social media. We simply don't have the data that the social media platforms have at their disposal to tie these posts to identities. We do, however, within Robinhood Securities,
Stop it 1 second.
Conform to all.
I just want to stop it right there. Right there, that was kind of alarming. I know it kind of seems simple and whatnot, but they're asking what kind of policies and what do you have to keep an eye on the social media and whatnot. That's like a hold my beer statement. Like, they weren't watching this now. Robinhood, what was the other one? Citadel, they're not looking at what's going on social media boards, right? They're paying attention to what's going on in the market. But after this right now, you better believe it. They're going to have whole different divisions that are going to be looking through your conversations, they're going to have moles in groups. They're going to be now monitoring what's going on to try to catch the people get ahead, so they can get ahead of the people what they're trying to talk about and discuss. And I will finish up this little part right over here, but he even says, Representative Scott, that we need to change this, whatnot. Something has to be done. He's pointing at the fact that these people, they caused all this commotion and they ignored reputable news about stocks in the market. So, yeah.
All regulatory requirements around monitoring and trade surveillance and all things of that nature.
Well, Mr. Kennedy, don't you see something is going terribly wrong here? What do you do to monitor the trades in individual stocks? Particularly when, in the case of GameStop, they are singled out and moved on social media. What do you do?
I appreciate the question. So our priority throughout the exceptional market conditions in January and early February was to maintain the uptime and performance of our platform and make sure that we're available to customers.
Let me try to get to a point here. Do you, Robinhood, do you have any policies in place to ensure that investors are making trades based on legitimate material, financial information, and not the influence of social media, the design of trading platforms, or any other superfluous information. Do you have anything, any guard to that?
Absolutely. Congressman, we provide educational resources to our customers, including our redesigned Robinhood Learn portal, which is not just available to Robinhood customers, but to the general public, and had over 3.2 million people visiting in 2020.
But do we not, I mean, you're at the center of this. Don't you see and agree that something very wrong happened here and that you're at the center of it? And we are looking on this committee of how we can protect our wonderful, precious financial system. We need it from you. What about you, Mr. Hoffman?
So there, he finishes up the same kind of way. We got to protect our beautiful, precious financial system from the evil Redditors on social media. You have nothing in place now? What's wrong with you, fam?
Yeah, it's
Hold
just,
my beer, it's coming.
Can't. It's just fucking so, like, elitist, and they're, like, gaslighting to make this about, you have to use the proper channels to do this this stock trading, this what these people do all the time. This is just the one time that people who aren't these Wall Street execs who do this on the regular did it online, and they can't, they're like, no, this is unacceptable. This is not the proper channels to go through. This is not that has nothing to do with it. It's the fact that they don't want the little guy getting a hold and being able to do what they do. This is not about anything more than that. It's not about them wanting accuracy and truth. It's the same kind of bullshit that the establishment always pulls, trying to say, this is just the spreading misinformation. And they're, and Robinhood isn't they're like the Facebook. If we were talking about censorship, Robinhood is like the Facebook.
Absolutely.
They're going, it's the same thing. They're like, well, what are you guys going to do to stop the spread of misinformation? This is the same type of tactic that they always use.
And they're kind of framing the Redditors like QAnoners of sorts. They're together offline, they're causing guff, and now they go and they strike, and what they did was wrong, rather than kind of go after Robinhood, whatnot.
Obviously, that congressman's bags got hurt.
Exactly. Obviously,
Rashida Tlaib really had one of the best moments yet. I'm going to put her up, and then we'll go over to Representative Al Green. But check out Rashida.
You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that we're having this hearing. I'm super appreciative of the leadership of our chairwoman, at least having some sort of transparency on exactly what happened. As we all know, the wealthiest 10% own 84% of all stocks. In fact, 50% of American families own no stock at all. I say this to emphasize that to many of my residents, the stock market is simply a casino for the rich whose gambling hurts pension and retirement funds. And when you all screw up, the people end up paying the tab through losses or bailouts. So I want to talk about the high frequency trading. We know about half of all stock trading in the US is done by computers. They analyze market activity and instantly complete trades at a profit. So this high frequency trading allows Wall Street traders to get ahead of transactions done by pension accounts and retirement funds. So Mr. Griffin, and this truly is a yes or no question, is Citadel's trading algorithm programmed to identify and trade ahead of large trades done by pension and retirement funds? Yes or no?
Congresswoman, today, virtually all trades executed by institutional investors are in the form of program trades such as VWAP and other algorithmic trades.
So that's a yes, right, Mr. Griffin?
I'm answering the question. It's a very complex question that deserves an appropriate level of answer.
Okay.
These VWAP trades are not large trades that you can, it's not like there's 10 million shares about to be bought. It is a trades is sliced into small slices,
Doing it.
100 or 200 shares, and executed over the course of a day, a week, or a month.
Well, help me out with this one. Does this increase cost, this kind of algorithm or whatever program to identify and trade, the computers doing the trading, does this increase cost for people who have pension and retirement funds, yes or no?
So given that we, for example, manage money on behalf of pension.
Oh, well, I really, because they're so timed, this is not out of disrespect. We just got a limited time.
We use VWAP orders to execute on behalf of our hedge fund and have generated exceptional returns for pension plans and for endowments. So
well, I'm going to help you out. Mr. Griffin. In effect, some estimates indicate that as a result of the high frequency trading, though, pension and retirement accounts pay nearly $5 billion in a tax. This means that Wall Street firms like yours engaging in high frequency trades are actually making money at the expense of my residents' retirement funds. So one way to ensure that this enormous wealth generated on Wall Street actually reaches the real economy, y'all, what's happening right here in our communities and in my district, is to enact and look at proposals like a financial transaction tax. And let me tell you, according to recent polling, the majority of Americans, all of you need to hear this, and it's going to grow. The majority of Americans support taxing Wall Street transactions. Taxing them at just 0.1% would actually raise $800 billion over 10 years, which could fund programs like helping my district expand healthcare, nutrition, public education. I heard my friend from Texas, who we all are praying all the families will be taken care of, talk about access to water and electricity. But guess what? Right now in my community, it's so poor that I have families melting snow so they can flush their toilets because they have no access to water. So this tax to me would discourage risky and high frequency trading, unfair high frequency trading. Mr. Griffin, does Citadel's lobbyist right now been hired to oppose federal proposals to financial transaction tax because it would make high frequency trading less profitable?
So we firmly believe that a transaction tax will injure America.
Look at him looking up reading.
Save the retirement. Yeah. I believe that Vanguard has publicly come out and said that we'd have to work about 2.5 years.
Well, I want to make this.
I'd like to finish my answer. I think it's important.
Oh, no. I'm reclaiming my time. The Hong Kong stock market, Mr. Griffin, imposes 0.2% tax on transactions as a result and sees little high frequency trading. But this hasn't stopped the Hong Kong stock market from thriving or becoming the third largest in the world after New York and London. So just to be clear, let's not gaslight the American people. Y'all be fine with the tax. And it's fair because let me tell you, our folks are tired of bailing you all out when you screw up and gamble with the retirement fund. And that's exactly what happens every single moment. And that's the reason why we're having this hearing, is that sometimes you are irresponsible and it's set up in a way that helps only the wealthy and leaves people like my community here with this large income inequality that I feel like never ever gets the bailout it deserves. Thank you so much. I yield.
There you go. So there's Rashida tying it all back, tying it together. Like I say, going to get some great moments out of it. She went after Citadel. She went after the big investment banker. She also kind of pointed out something that since the repeal of Glass-Steagall, where you can throw investment and personal banking into one, and then there comes out of pension funds that have to sometimes carry the cost of high-frequency trading. She presented a solution when it comes to a small tax that will help the situation, and she really exposed what was going on. I thought this was the best moment of this particular hearing, and I really like what Rashida had to say, Fam. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, she's one of the few of the squad that I feel like disappoints me the least. I mean, when it comes to certain things, she really goes after them. And one thing she pointed out was the gaslighting. Yeah. This is an entire gaslight. That's exactly what it is. They're making themselves the victims when they are the ones that constantly have to get bailed out. And all the largest transfer of wealth happens from the bottom up to them, and they never ever take accountability or receive any consequences. Yeah. And it's just very basic shit. It's not that hard to understand. This is what they're doing. They're making themselves the victims, and the other idiot is reading from a freaking teleprompter.
Yeah, you can see Griffin. He's reading from the temple. He's looking up, whatnot. Now, this moment right over here I really like too as well, because Representative Al Green, I like this guy. not on everything, but when it comes to down to a few things, this is a moment, I think, when Bernie Sanders also in a pharmaceutical hearing was going after people. And this is something that's very interesting. Watch what he says, and we'll talk about this after, because this is a problem. You will hear in the news, oh, this pharmaceutical company got fined $100 million. Oh, it got fined $200 million. But what does that mean if they're making profits hand over fist? Now, watch what Representative Al Green has to say here, and he's so smooth. I love this guy.
But I want to talk about the circumstance where it's improper, not where it's proper. Remember, we started with improper trading. Here's my point. Let me go to it quickly. The market maker Citadel traded over-the-counter stocks for its own accounts in 2012, from 2012 to 2014, while simultaneously delaying client orders for the same shares. And it was fined for this. Citadel has been naughty for some time. 2014, Citadel faced $800,000 in penalties. 2017, $22.6 million. 2018, $3.5 million. 2020, $97 million. And another 2020 of $700,000. This seems like a lot of money. It is for me, more than $124 million. But over the same period of time, Citadel had revenues generated in the amount of $13.2 billion. It seems to me that the punishment for these improper trades and improper actions, because it wasn't just trading, Citadel also did some other things that were not proper. They misled clients. Seems that the punishment is so small given the amount of revenue generated over the same period of time. It seems that Citadel has at least an opportunity to build into its cost of doing business paying penalties. And that concerns me. It concerns me that the punishment doesn't seem to deter Citadel.
Yeah.
It concerns.
So, I mean, he goes on to just talk to Auntie Maxine, cuts him off and says, don't worry, we're going to have continued hearings and continued talks about this. But once again, fam, this is like going in and robbing a bank and robbing $20 million, getting caught and having to give $2 million back, but keep the other $18 million.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what's going on. This happens in the pharmaceutical industry. It happens in the finance industry. And I'm really glad that Representative Al Green pointed this out, because something has to be done. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. They're robbing from the people, just like they did in this situation when they stopped the stock from being traded only one way, not the other. And yet they get away with it, and they get a little smack on the wrist and get to keep doing business, fam. So, any thoughts on that?
No.
All right, next one. The little guy talk, Johnny, we could skip this one because it really is choppy. I tried to look at it this morning, but it was really one of the only times that they kind of talked. And one of the representatives talked to the gentleman, what's his name? I want to get his name right. I'm not a cat, Keith Gill. And he pointed out, he goes, it's obvious that the guy from Citadel has about 4 or 5 people in the room reading from something. He has all these people behind him. How many people do you have with him? He goes, nobody. I have nobody with me. And he goes, this is what I'm talking about. We should protect the little guy. All right, the little guy needs protection, and when they get together, and even if they want to kick a hedge fund right in the teeth, they have every right to do this. What they did do was not illegal, and it's time we start standing up for the little guy. The last part I want to point out, the last representative, this is the time. Now, this guy, Vlad, he was really Vlad Tanden, the CEO of Robinhood. He was sidestepping stuff all the time, saying it was a liquidity issue, but then he was on TV saying it wasn't a liquidity issue. He was really not giving solid answers to why he did what he did. So in this particular situation, she asked him, well, you said you did things wrong. What did you do wrong? Watch his answer here. This was great.
You admitted to making mistakes. Specifically, what mistakes did you make?
I admit to always improving, and certainly we're not going to be public. We're not going to be perfect, and we want to improve and make sure that we don't make the same mistakes twice.
But what were those mistakes? That's what we're here to learn about.
I think that, thank you for the question. It's an important question. On Thursday, we did restrict the buying of these securities. On Friday, we imposed position limits, which I believe was a much better long-term solution, one that we'll have in the future if anything like this happens again. We also raised $3.4 billion in capital to allow our customers to.
Thank you. I yield back. I see my time has expired.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tanev.
Once again, put on the spot. He's there. I'm sorry for what we did wrong. Well, what'd you do wrong? Dub. He doesn't want to incriminate himself, whatnot. This is the point where, thank you for the question halfway through. You know what I'm saying, fam? So those were the highlights of the hearing that you didn't have to watch. We watched it for you. Nothing's going to really come out of this, fam. They're not changing laws. I know this is the shit I had to put up with just to try. And I was like, come on, give me something. Thank God for Representative Al Green. Thank God for that last question. Rashida Tlaib did a great job. But also, too, we have to watch out from the censorship coming because there was a finger pointed. And I'm saying this right now. Companies like Robinhood, companies like Citadel, companies like Melvin Group are going to start hiring people to go online and get information from what's going on in these chats. They will be spying on us, Patriot Act style, because now they've seen what can happen. They don't want to face another situation like this again, where they have to explain themselves and it can really hurt their bottom line. So therefore, just watch out for it. And you know what? Congress will grant them the tools to do so.
And we don't know of any legislation that was introduced, right?
No.
None.
Okay, so
None.
these were just speeches. Then.
This was just yelling it into the air. Look how I look. We're going to get to the last topic, but first let's read some super race. Tell the folks at home about the thing on March 17th. Slow news day. Steve Poikinen smack you over the face with a mackerel. Just wait. JG received a tip. Super Ray. Thank you, JG. It's always appreciated on the couch, right, fam? And I think that's it. Guys, if you're on YouTube and you haven't gone over to Rokfin, please do so. This will be the last topic of the day, fam. What do we got?
So Joe Biden has retracted on everything he promised. We know that. We're going to continue talking about all these things because it's getting worse and worse as the day goes by. But Joe Biden took actually $5 million from detention centers and border security corporations during his campaign. And you can check with Democracy Now! Basically, they pointed this out. I'll read a little bit of it. But there was a new report that revealed from certain organizations, and we're going to look into those too. President Biden and other Democrats received more campaign money from leading border security and immigration prison corporations than Trump and fellow Republicans during the 2020 election season. According to the report by the Transnational Institute, American Friends Service Committee, and Mi Gente, Biden received over $5 million from border security executives, while Trump got $1.7 in campaign contributions. This is funny because we had a lot of neo-progressives come at you and me, and say you were privileged to not vote for Joe Biden because you didn't care about immigrants. You were the person that, you had to mitigate damage by voting for Joe Biden because he was going to rein in ICE. He was going to do all these things. And instead, people are still getting deported. ICE is still free to do what they're doing. As we've talked about, the ACLU was complaining about it. And this shows that Joe Biden never had any actual intention of reining in ICE, because if he would have had the intention, he wouldn't have taken their fucking money. So this is why it's important that you stop lying to yourself and listen to people when they tell you nothing will fundamentally change, because he specifically told you that nothing would change. And you stop accusing people of being privileged by not voting for Joe Biden, who is the guy that wanted defense a long time ago. He's the guy that wrote the crime bill, the Patriot Act. He's the guy that he has never said he was going to really abolish ICE in any way, shape, or form. And that's the truth. So all those people that were saying they were mitigating damage, I want to see, what are you going to do now that Joe Biden isn't doing anything he said he was going to do?
Yeah, well, even somebody said, in a debate, well, he's not helping my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Donald Trump. I'm like, well, neither is Joe Biden either. He said he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle, for crying out loud, on the floor of Congress. I mean, how much more racist can you get at that? And once again, the reason why we have this problem is our intervention. The fact that we're all up, our corporations, Chiquita Banana in the North Triangle, right? Okay, have taken away their natural resources with these people use, so it can go into our corporate interests, overturning that government. In fact, Manuel Zelaya was one of the most recent ones during the Obama administration, where they ran him out of the country. And ever since they ran him out of the country, the murder rate went up, the death rate went up. It's constant craziness in the street, which forces people to say, hey, I'm leaving this country right now. It's crazy. Let's go to America where we have a better chance. That is the main reason why they migrate here in the first place. Is it not, fam? You've been to the border. You've talked to these people. Can you please express that real quick so people understand that this is a problem of a foreign policy right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the issue. Let me just finish what I was going to say, and then we can discuss at the end. So Mi Gente actually was the one that was talking about this money, right? Like the money that Joe Biden took. And they specifically said, if you go to their Twitter, they said Biden received 3 times as much money from border companies in 2020 than Trump did. We know Biden's big immigration bill is coming. We know it'll deal with border security. We can't let these firms buy influence. We can't let them continue a legacy of militarization. Now, Mi Gente has always been a pro-Democrat, more of a liberal group. So the fact that they're calling out Biden means that Biden is really fucking up. Because when an organization that it's really easy for you to please by simply, talking about immigration in the most basic way possible is calling you out, that means that you really fucked up, because they're not like a radical communist or socialist organization that wants open borders. That's not what they are. CBS News also noted that Homeland Security officials scrapped the Trump-era union deal that could have stalled Biden's immigration policies. Supposedly, last Tuesday, on February 16th, they moved to scrap a contract signed at the tail end of the Trump administration that could have allowed union of deportation officers to stall the implementation of certain of Biden's policies. But the DHS is still going to go through and do as they were told. So the DHS will make policy decisions in accordance with the law and based on what's best for national security, public safety, and border security while upholding our nation's values, the spokesperson continued. Under federal law, an agency head has 30 days to review and approve or disapprove such an agreement once it is signed. The David Seed, who is a lawyer representing this whistleblower that was accused of gross mismanagement, said this abuse of that accused Cicinelli of gross mismanagement, said this abuse of authority is shocking, and that the whistleblower is described as a current federal employee that possesses information concerning significant acts of misconduct. So there's a lot of bullshit that's been going on in ICE, and that's been going on, of course, with the Department of Homeland Security. Biden was supposed to come in and fix this. They're saying that they don't have to abide by what Joe Biden wants, and they're not listening to him in other terms. So that's part of it. The Mi Gente also released a statement on Joe Biden's immigration bill, where they said we need an immigration system based on justice, not cruelty. Today's announcement from the Biden administration was a step in the right direction, but it excludes too many members of our community. So they're even being fairly kind with Joe Biden, while the ACLU is really upset. Now, the Transnational
Institute.
Actually, I want to get the whole name right. Yes, the Transnational Institute is TNI.
Mm-hmm. Not TMI.
No, TNI.
Yeah.
Said that Biden is opposed to Trump's wall, but supports a more hidden virtual wall and smart borders, deploying surveillance technologies that will be both more lucrative for the industry and more hidden in terms of the abuses they perpetrate. So, this is really funny because it's very similar to how the Biden administration operates on censorship and on foreign policy, right? It's like, oh yeah, we won't have the literal thing there, but we're going to have a virtual thing there. So employees at the top 13 border security firms contributed 3 times more to Biden than Trump in the 2020 election. You can see those numbers right there. No. The border security industry earned $55.1 billion from government contracts between 2008 and 2020. These are all there: Northrop Grumman, Palantir, Deloitte, Leidos, CoreCivic, Lockheed Martin, L3 Harris. Deportations from 1992 to 2008.
Put this up here. This is great.
You can see those right there.
Wait, that blue is higher than the red. That blue is higher than the red, fam. I thought that wasn't supposed to be there. I thought that we were mitigating damage and we were just protecting, Yeah,
so no. The leading border security firms favored Democrats over Republicans in the 2020 election. There it is. Whoa. The donkey is higher than the elephant. I'm so sorry. 55 to 45%. These are things people don't like to hear, especially a lot of these Democrats and these progressives who are still in denial of this shit. Like this is numbers. I mean, I don't know how you want to like try to absolve us from this, right? And no, I think this one.
That one right here, the Institute again.
Yeah. So there's a video that lays the information out pretty well. Basically, they're saying that Biden is seeking to reverse Trump's anti-migrant policies, but is he willing to cut ties with the border security industry? He can say, so in other words, he can say that he is going to reverse Trump's things on rhetoric and symbolically, but when it comes down to the actual numbers and the actual push to actually continue the same type of policies underneath a cloak, he's still doing it. Our research looks at 13 key contractors and the way they have shaped a bipartisan approach in favor of border militarization. Yeah.
Let's do it. The industry has traditionally favored Republicans and benefited from Trump. But look at the total of the nation. So why did they pivot towards Democrats in the last election? Perhaps to prevent the policy change that would impact an industry worth $55.1 billion. We've been talking about this. Over the last 3 decades, the border industry has embedded itself in the corridors of power, forging bipartisan consensus for ever-expanding border militarization. While Biden has started to reverse some anti-immigration policies, he firmly supports virtual walls and smart borders that are more lucrative for the border security industry and just as deadly. Nearly 8,000 bodies received in the U.S.-Mexico borderland were recovered in the U.S. I missed it. The Democrats will not end this deadly cooperation with the border industry unless we demand they do so. The moment is now. End systemic racism. Read our research, and this is Biden's borders, immigration policies, the Democrats, and whatnot. Okay, fam, go ahead, because I
just yeah. So as you guys can see, these are I think this is a more non-biased organization than the other one, but still, I mean, they're pointing out that these are the numbers from the Trump administration to the Obama administration to now the Biden administration, who received more money in this last campaign cycle. It was the Democrats from border security industries. And again, this goes along with the Democrat establishment way of being extremely more virtual, more on the technology side, using big tech as a mechanism to go after people rather than the obvious, like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna go send my podunk uncle there with his AK-47 to like go, hunt these illegals. I mean that's the other mentality that people picture, like when they picture a Trump supporting pro-wall person.
Militia.
Like we're gonna have a militia. Border. We're gonna but those are a few and far between, and those happen, but this is far more dangerous. Why? Because it's backed by tons and tons of money, and it's backed by cybersecurity, and that is the future. Because they're doing that to immigrants, but they're also doing that to you. So don't think for a second that one is better than the other. In fact, I think this one might be worse because it's more cryptic and it's harder to fight when it's not as blatant, and when you don't have the red boogeyman of Trump who's saying all these things about immigrants to get those emotions riled up. It's harder to fight an enemy that is wearing a friendly mask.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what a lot of progressives thought, man, that this time would be different around with Joe Biden. Like, well, he's changed. Well, judging what he does now, look, he's done enough in the past to make me say I'll never trust this guy. Remember, he was the first one when he was in a room full of police unions going, I want to build a fence really high on the border or whatnot. And we'll talk about more of this stuff right here. Check out this video, Gloria Jones.
So Gloria Jones pointed this out. Politics is so backwards in that the worst of the worst gets uplifted to positions of power, and people continue to legitimize that. For instance, here's racist clip.
Number
8 million of the man many voted for in the name of, quote, stopping fascism.
Is Biden so concerned about Bosnia and not about Haiti? Is it because blacks are involved in Haiti? Blacks are what at stake in Haiti, and in Bosnia they are European whites. If Haiti, a god-awful thing to say, if Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot in terms of our interest.
Wouldn't matter a lot in our whole terms of interest if they sunk into the water, fam.
I mean, yeah, there you go. That's how your stopping fascism. I stopped fascism, so I voted for Joe because I wanted to stop fascism. I'm against fascists. Oh, I'm against Nazis. You're a Nazi collaborator. You're a Nazi adjacent. You're a red-brown alliance. Meanwhile, I'm voting for Joe Biden to stop fascism. Yep. Orange man bad. Like, literally. And these are the same people that have a problem with us talking to a libertarian. I mean, I just don't understand the hypocrisy is why people leave the Democratic Party. The hypocrisy is why there is no opposition to the Republican Party. We have a right-wing country where there's really no difference between the Democrats and Republicans' establishment, and any sort of populist movements are completely vilified, curtailed, stopped in any way, shape, or form, and the left is entirely divided because they keep falling for the same stupid fucking tactics and manipulations by the Democratic Party.
When did they say enough is enough, fam? When did they say, okay, we've been kicked in the teeth too much, that we're not going to go fall for this? Democrats are better than Republicans. Bullshit. It's really not. It's one big party. It's one big aisle. One paid to lose. One's paid to win. It's the same donators, you know?
So Susan Sarandon retweeted this. Come on, man. And here is what we said before, that Joe Biden issued a new ICE guidance abandoning his pledge to halt deportations. And then Biden privately told governors minimum wage hike isn't likely happening. So he's going back on that. That is minimal, by the way, $15 by 2024 or 25. That's ridiculous, guys. And then the defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, spoke with Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman to reaffirm the strategic defense partnership between Washington and Riyadh. Austin condemned the Houthi cross-border attacks and committed to assist Saudi in the defense of its borders. So they're still going to be helping the Saudis, which means Yemen people are still going to be screwed.
They gaslight the people saying that they're going to end this war, and then you got the defense secretary of Raytheon going and saying, don't worry, we got your back. Wink, wink, we'll give you the missiles you need.
And then Rep. Katie Porter, a single mom, tells Kathy Turn, NBC, that the current Biden Dem COVID relief bill gives more money per child to married couples and single parents. That makes no sense. There's no discount for being a single parent. If there is, please point me to it. So even the money now is going to punish single parents, and we haven't seen any of that money yet.
Not a
so
dime.
all of these things are happening with Joe Biden. He's backing up on everything else. And then we have his press secretary, who some progressives said, "Oh, she's a breath of fresh air."
Yeah, a breath of
fresh air.
We've heard that about every single. Isn't Anthony Blinken a breath of fresh air the way he's on Sesame Street and stuff? Let's take a look at this real quick.
So during it was a hearing, I believe. She was the State Department spokesperson at that point. She basically had a joke. She had a joke of a moment. She said the U.S. does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Let's hear this this display, because she was asked by a journalist about Venezuela, basically, and about coups, and she responded with that, and then she was pushed back. So let's watch this.
President Maduro last night went on the air and said that they'd arrested multiple people who were allegedly behind a coup that was backed by the United States. What is your response?
These latest accusations, like all previous such accusations, are ludicrous. As a matter of long-standing policy, the United States does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Political transitions must be democratic, constitutional, peaceful, and legal.
The U.S. has The U.S. has a long-standing practice of not promoting. What did you say? How long-standing is that? In particular, in South and Latin America, that is not a long-standing practice.
So they dun 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 dun.
But I mean, listen, fam, they gaslight people all the time when it comes to this. Since Biden's gotten into place, new boss, same as the old boss. It really was the old boss. He's recognized Juan Guaido as the president, and nobody recognizes Juan Guaido as the president. He's armed Chile, giving them the weapons deal, whatnot, and he's putting his clamps down and kind of winking to the Haiti dictatorship
and Ecuador as well.
Ecuador, I mean, like it's the same problems over and over again with the foreign policy, which is going to drive migrants.
It's a bunch
to
of
the United
malarkey,
States.
fam.
Yeah, and you know what? He's just as bad, if not worse than Donald Trump.
Give me a malarkey.
Right. Give me a malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
It is. It really is. I mean, we're not mitigating damage whatsoever. It's just a cryptic form of fascism, whatnot. Both of these parties need to go. We need to get outside them. We need to stop trying to fix things from the inside. And this was really just a stupid kick in the teeth because, first of all, I don't believe he even won the primary or the election anyway. So, I mean, it's just, it's terrible. But the fact that the Democrats, the progressives within inside this party have not stood up, and a lot of them, in fact, they've ushered in this same old type of bullshit, is quite scary, and it's fucked up, fam. So.
Yep, fam.
That's it?
Yep.
Johnny, what else we got before I read some Super Rays? Go ahead and read some All right, I'm going to read some Super Rays while Johnny gets set up. Gloria! Well, let me try to get this name. Santi Vanez. Gloria Santa Vanez. Thank you for keeping me informed. Thank you, Gloria. You keep us powered. We love you. Thank you so much. That was the last Super Ray. Before that, I think we got them all. There's been a nice little Saturday cha-ching for us, but we need it because we got stuff going on coming up. Johnny, what do you got?
Okay, so yeah, it is Black History Month.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Redfish Stream posted these pictures, and I thought they were really cool. So these are photos of the Black Panther Party for self-defense, colorized, so you can see what they look like. You know,
I love their little hats.
That's Huey P. Newton, I believe.
Yep.
And he's got the shotgun there, some shotgun.
We got to watch
shells,
that movie, Johnny.
Leather gloves, true leather. But now we're vegan, so faux leather now.
It's pleather. We can go pleather.
And some Black Panthers here.
And these are the pictures they showed us in high school to make them think they were just like an armed militia of radicals, whatnot. No, I mean, the Black Panther Party did so much good things.
The freedom schools, right?
Must be.
Yeah.
I mean, they did so much with education. They did so much feeding the homeless. They did so much for their communities, too, as well. They educated people to get in there, too, as well. They had a rainbow coalition towards the end. But they're demonized throughout our history and whatnot. And really, to tell you the truth, Fred Hampton, you know me, guys. He's one of my favorites of all time. And there he is. Look at him. He's great. I mean, the man was awesome. He just had so much knowledge, and he knew how to bring people together. That's why they whacked him at 21, fam. J. Edgar Hoover said, no way we're going to let this guy get out there and get more traction. And they killed him.
All power to the people.
Yep, all the power to all the people. Look at the cops right here. So you just say, you going to mess with this guy? Sitting there with guns. It's all right to bear arms, baby. It's all right to bear arms.
So this is why they started militarizing the police. Because back then, well, there's a new movie out, right? I've been wanting to see it.
Yeah, it's on HBO something. Can you get it for us?
HBO Max. I can probably find it online, but
he's joking.
But I'm not. Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to. I'm not going.
We could, but we use mom's.
Yeah,
you know, mom has HBO Max, so maybe we can do that.
Grandma streams.
Not mentioning any names.
I watched a little bit of it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, so it'd be interesting to see. I was going to bring this up earlier when you started talking about the immigration thing, Pasa, because you were saying, families leave other countries because, for their children, for
exactly
for their families because, the Obama administration has destabilized them and Biden's policies and everything like that. So then I saw this meme online. Ted Cruz, I went to Cancun for the sake of my children. Us. So you agree that parents should cross borders for the sake of their children?
Yep.
Heroic father crosses Mexican border and travels 1,200 miles to find running water, heat, and electricity for his family.
It's the truth, dude. It's the truth. It's so great. Go ahead.
Ted Cruz proved that politicians like him don't need to believe in global warming because they will have the resources to flee the consequences of policies and practices that create environmental disasters. Because this cold vortex,
this polar vortex
is kind of crazy.
But it seems like
record-breaking temperatures.
Yeah, John. But it seems like also the electric companies and whatnot, kind of use this and game the system for more money. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That they kind of poured on the gravy and made blackouts a little bit more frequently so they can put the charges on the customers and make more money.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
It seems like they politicized the situation, in fact.
I should have pulled up his little quotes that he talked about. That show was hilarious.
That's exactly what they did, though. And then, you have one side blaming socialism, I don't know how, and no, the Green New Deal, which is completely false because they don't have anything resembling anything remotely like that. And it's really what you have to blame is the system. that is exploiting this situation to make more money off of people's misery. It's called disaster capitalism. When there's a disaster, what do some of these rich people do?
Yep.
They literally profit off of it. They do it all the time to
Doing it right now.
colonies like Puerto Rico after the hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
They go in there, they buy the real estate because none of the locals have money. They build these hotels and they make money off of the fact that nobody else can afford to build anything. And that's what they do to drive American tourism there, to drive luxury tourism. So it's something that happens all the time. And it's, again, this is why I'm extremely anti-capitalist, because it's profits are king. Your people are a second tier or third tier to the whole situation, and the environment, forget it. Like that's irrelevant, right? And then you can always build an industry and create jobs in a new industry. You don't have to like be constantly tied to one way of things. And it's
so you got to hear this video here.
Let's see.
About his trip to Cancun, Mexico in the middle of the power crisis in his state. Here's what he told NBC News' Telemundo crew at the Cancun airport.
Well, Texas is going through horrific storms, and millions of Texans have lost power and lost heat and have been hurting. And our family was among them. We had no heat and no power. And yesterday, my daughters asked if they could take a trip with some friends, and Heidi and I agreed, so I flew down with them last night, dropped them off here, and now I'm headed back to Texas and back to continuing to work to try to get the power on. What's happening in Texas is unacceptable, and a lot of Texans are hurting.
You know damn well he didn't just drop them off. He was going there to hang out, and he got caught. It's like, well, I'm just dropping the kids off, and I'm going back to Texas.
He was having margaritas. Hey, I've been to Cancun, Ted. I know the margaritas are great. I know it's tough to resist a really well-made margarita. You
Johnny, what did you say? Johnny said that it was a comment that as soon as he sat down on the plane,
he
was like, "Oh my God!" I was like,
looking for
I shouldn't be doing this. Like, no shit. As soon as your ass at the plane, you'll be like, "Oh, screwed up right over here, man. What the hell am I doing? I really just sat down on a plane headed to Cancun, where there are people out there with dying in the streets. Literally, somebody died in front of a 7-Eleven in Texas." Froze to death.
I didn't even mention, and this is how it all ties together. The border the camps, not the camps, but the prisons, basically, you know what the prisons are, with the immigrants in them they're reporting people are literally freezing. They're really in horrible conditions. Like, imagine normal people in the suburbs freezing and being in horrible conditions. Now imagine a detention center is the word I was looking for. The people in the detention center, how they're living, and that's 10,000 times worse. And so what is Joe Biden doing about that? Where are all these kids? They're still in cages. What? Like, nothing is being done. And now Texas, where they do have a lot of these detention centers too, is going through this. Like, it's insane. It's disgusting. Nothing has changed.
Joe Biden's going to talk to the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Guaido, to make sure that he just says there's no malarkey going on, and we're going to fix things. Nordy left a Super A tip. Thank you for the Super A tip. It is always appreciated on the couch. And also we have Keep It Real, fam. Keep it real. Johnny, anything else before we make a quick announcement?
I like Fee's tweet. She said on the left is Cuban market, on the right is a Texas grocery store. It's time for people to leave empire education behind. Blaming socialism on everything is ignorant. Our country and most others run on capitalism. Not having a workers' own economy is how it breaks down. So, this is in response to like a bunch of conservatives being like
all the time.
Oh, they post a picture of this and they're like, see socialism. Yeah. And it's like literally what's happening now in the capitalistic economy in the United States.
Johnny genius right there.
It's just absolutely true. And if you look at the second comment, Johnny, just to add, imperialism, because you always have to tie it back to our foreign policy, is the highest form of capitalism at an international level. The reason some countries take more authoritarian stances is because the boot of the U.S. empire is constantly pushing sanctions, embargoes like we did in Cuba, and coups for resource extraction. So they're forced to defend themselves. They're forced to act. And so when you talk about why Venezuela, why Cuba, China, like, well, if they don't, then we go in there and we take over. That's what we do. So there's a few countries that have managed to help each other. And so this is why they're our enemy. But really, Like, we have more in common with the civilians in those countries than we do with our own politicians because they don't care about you.
Johnny, if you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself.
That's
Who said that, Johnny? If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself.
Fred Hampton.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. So here's a clip of Fred Hampton.
They have black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of poor people of all descents. They had them caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire best. We think you fight fire with water best. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reaction where all of us people are getting together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right on. Right on. And that's saying all power to the people. Right on. That's saying that no matter what color you are, there's only two classes. And that's saying that there's a class over here and there's a class over there. And the reason that this class over here has never did anything to get this class off its back because this is lower, this is upper. This is the oppressed, this is the oppressor. This is the exploited, this is the exploiter. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fight amongst each other. And you've heard the testimony of pigs here. You got pigs of all colors, you know that. You got pigs that are white, you got pigs that are black, you even got pigs that are black and white. Propagating the same type of madness that this buffoon Hanrahan would be propagating if he were here himself. And why? Because they want to keep you to believing that I'm your enemy, and that everybody else that's black and that wears a lot of hair on his head and hair on his face, they want to keep you thinking that he's your enemy. Why? Because if ever you would disregard him and overlook him just for a minute and throw away that question of racism and start into dealing with a little logic, then there would be no one else you could attack other than Hanrahan, other than Davy, and other than Tricky Dicky Nixon.
Bomb. My favorite thing in the world. Bomb. This is the reason they killed him. It's divide and conquer, fam. Keep us looking at each other for our differences. You know, George Carlin said it, our differences. They always want to tell us about our differences. Let's talk about stuff that brings us together. That's the exploiter. We're the exploited. Let's start joining together, put aside our differences, take care of these people, then we can work on what we need to work on.
An international proletarian revolution. This is why we always talk about foreign policy being no different than our domestic policy.
Yeah. And listen, when Martin Luther King started talking about foreign policy and Fred Hampton was talking about that, and same with Malcolm X, that's when they killed their asses. They said, you ain't putting this together. You ain't getting people together of different races, religions, and colors in the streets to do shit. We ain't going to let that happen. We need to keep people divided, and that's been their game ever since. Sorry, John.
And I want y'all to know that Chicago Film Archives actually is the murder of Fred Hampton, the documentary, the film, is now streaming on their website for free. So there's that link I retweeted from the Convo Couch. If you guys want to see that, I'll try and put this link right now into the chat. Do it, because everybody should watch that. That documentary was great. Okay, so other things. In Spain, there's some crazy shit going on, fams.
Oh, yeah.
I told you guys about this.
Oh, yeah. This is deep-rooted stuff over there.
This is freedom of the speech. Communist Catalan rapper Pablo Hasél was arrested this morning by the police after the rector of the University Hasél was barricaded in, gave the police the permission to enter. So you can see here, the rapper.
They brought up the whole battalion. Why were they arresting him, John?
Because he's a communist.
I'm going to read that in a second.
My name's Pablo.
So, Hasél was ordered by a Spanish court to report to prison in order to serve 9 months and 1 day for his left-wing music and his activism because it allegedly glorifies terrorism and insults the crown and state institutions.
Damn,
Quote,
how dare you insult the crown, Johnny?
Insult the crown.
This is why I hate monarchies.
His conviction was based on 64 messages on Twitter and a song shared on YouTube, in which he criticized the Spanish institutions, including the crown.
Hell yeah.
To prevent arrest, Hassel, supported by students, locked himself in at the Lida University, stating all forms of resistance are legitimate in the face of a violent police force that will come armed to kidnap me. They will have to break in to imprison me. According to a study by Free Muse NGO, Spain is one of the most repressive countries when it comes to artistic freedom, with the country ranking number 1 in sending musicians to jail in 2018.
That's crazy.
So Spain, that's Spain.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We
all learned something on the Convo Couch today.
So after that, riots broke out. They've been breaking out. You can see here's some riots have been breaking out. So that was on that was like on Valentine's Day, I believe, or on February 16th. This happened, and then riots broke out the next day or that night
and
in Barcelona and other Catalonian cities.
Yeah, so if you go to Barcelona, a lot of the signs are in Catalonian, which is a form of Spanish. It's like old Spanish. It's a little bit different and harder to read. You can still kind of understand it if you speak Spanish, but the Catalonians are known for being extremely left-wing, being having, promoting like co-ops and being very like pro-workers.
Yeah.
And they have been extremely opposed, obviously, by the vast majority of the establishment in Spain, the monarchy, because they are a threat and they have wanted independence for a very long time as well.
Yeah.
So you can see here scenes from Barcelona where thousands took to the street against the arrest of Catalan rapper Pablo Hasél, and riots broke out. Anger is growing across Catalonia over the arrest for his activism in music against the Spanish state and crown. I just want to hear this. The crying of the people. Garbage cans over there.
Yeah, that's become common. Using the garbage cans. Those are weird garbage cans.
Dumpsters, yeah.
Yeah. High tech dumpsters.
So that's that.
Wow.
Hey, that's a bank.
So there's
they got a lot
these
of problems
little
in Spain.
things going on all over the world.
The Catalonians, the Basque, the Basques.
Yeah,
the
they're
Basque regions
completely
of Spain and
unique.
France. I mean, it's like, and the fact that there's a crown still that they're talking about, that's why there's an issue. People are going to push back against that. This is some interesting stuff, Johnny. I'm glad you're pointing it out.
It's 2021. Like, let's do away with all monarchies. I mean, and even if you do away with monarchies, then you have a system like ours where we don't have a monarchy, but we do have an elite. So the elites have replaced the monarchy, which...
So this has been going on. They haven't stopped protesting. I want y'all to know that it wasn't just 1 day, 2 days. It was the 16th, 17th, 18th. These are more scenes from protesters that throw out rocks at police.
Wow.
I don't know what that cop
is shooting. Yeah, we need to get our passports.
Oh, mine's already. It's on its way.
We got to go to Spain. We got to go to Global South. We got a lot of places to go.
Yeah.
I'd be screaming at Johnny, don't get so damn close to the goddamn cops in Spain. I'd be screaming at Johnny because Johnny be getting right up in the cop's face.
Joder.
Joder. So yeah, if you're not following Redfish Stream on Instagram or Twitter, they're really showing all the protests going on. They're pretty lefty. They're pretty great. In one of the in a response to this tweet, this original tweet, someone had this as a response. This was going on in Spain around the same time.
Okay, now those.
Es nuestra suprema obligación luchar por España y luchar por una Europa ahora débil y liquidada por el enemigo que siempre va a ser el mismo, aunque con distintas máscaras, el judío.
The enemy will always be the same with different masks, the Jew.
Wow.
So look, this is happening in Spain.
Yes.
This is what's happening in Spain. and they arrest fucking
the communists.
Well, see, but there's free speech, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? What
so
is
they
going-
can say that the enemy is the Jew, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is like, and this is real. Not like when a lot of these, God, white saviors here talk about Nazi, like
the Proud Boys.
These are actual Nazis. What Biden and a lot of Democrats supported in Ukraine, actual Nazis.
Yeah.
Navalny or whatever the fuck his name is, he was supporting actual Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, that is actual Nazism. So when you say stupid shit like, oh, this person's a Nazi, this person's a Nazi, she's fash, they're fash, like you just sound like a complete moron to everybody else around the world that's actually fighting actual Nazis.
Yeah.
Go listen to
Th-
Bella
this-
Ciao.
This is literally a neo-Nazi group in Spain. It's a group of around 300 people that came out. I'm going to show an article here in a second, but let's watch more of this. And if you're Spanish, you know what they're saying, which is disgusting.
Certero que esta afirmación. El judío es el culpable.
The Jew is
El
to blame.
judío es el culpable y la división azul luchó por ello. Quise librar a Europa del comunismo, de una invención judía destinada a enfrentar a los obreros
Communism is
de
a Jewish intention.
Los propios hogares españoles, lo que fue la gesta de la división azul en general y especialmente la batalla.
Y sin duda que el marxismo, igual que ayer, en la época de la Segunda Guerra Mundial, y hoy también sigue intentando turbar la paz de nuestra sociedad, turbar la paz de los espíritus y sobre todo quitar a aquel que es el príncipe de la paz, nuestro Señor Jesucristo.
They want to take down the crown that is the Prince of Peace.
Familiares y amigos, que seáis más de 6 como somos hoy aquí, y que os abracéis, y que cantéis, y que viváis alegre, porque el fascismo es alegría, camaradas. Tarde o temprano, cuando entreguemos nuestra vida, camaradas, solo podremos decir que no llegamos con las manos vacías y que nuestro honor se llama fidelidad. Gritad conmigo: ¡Arriba España!
Jesus.
¡Arriba Europa!
So they're claiming their loyalty to Spain, and they're very pro monarchy, it seems.
No tenemos nada que temer.
We have nothing to fear.
Como los mejores, nuestro honor es fidelidad. Y como los mejores,
We are the
en las
best.
semillas, en otros escudos, llevamos la leyenda Ot Mitus. Posesión de fiestas, camaradas. ¡Arriba España!
Hail Spain, hail Spain.
Keep people divided, conquered, and keep fighting against each other. Neo-Nazis start popping up, man. Popping up. That is some scary shit over there, man.
So I translated this page from Spanish. So the quote: "The Jew is the culprit. The enemy will always be the same." 300 neo-Nazis honored the Blue Division in Madrid. Among the speakers was Ignacio Menendez, lawyer for the far rightists and co-author of the murders of Atocha Carlos Garcia Julia. So there you can see the lady there who
They're
said
doing
that.
the freaking signal.
Who said that they're all doing the the freaking Nazi symbol there. About 300 people marched to Madrid last Saturday. So this was on the 15th. So yeah, last Saturday. I don't know when that was, but
Wow.
a few days before then, the Spanish who fought under Hitler during World War II. Whoa, okay. Blue Division, the Spanish who fought under Hitler during World War II. Okay, well that's a piece of history that I didn't know.
This is
right
disgusting.
there. The event was commissioned by the Patriot Youth, a Madrid neo-Nazi organization, was supported by different Nazi and fascist groups such as España 2000 Party or La Falange, whose national leader Manuel Andrino attended the march. Every year of these dates, Nazi groups from all over Spain meet in Madrid to carry out this act, which coincides with the anniversary of the Battle of Krasny Bor, in which a division of Spaniards at the service of Nazism took part, and of which this year has been the 78th anniversary.
Yeah.
The march went through several streets of Madrid after a banner with the Blue Division shield and with the legend, "Honor and Glory to the Fallen." The assistants formed the corridor in the cemetery to the monolith that remembers the Blue Division. So there's a monolith.
That's what they were. I was wondering whose grave that was.
Yeah, okay. So made the Nazi salute and sang fascist-themed songs. So this was that video.
So it's like a homage to the
blue,
fallen Nazis.
The fallen Nazis of the.
Oh, look, this one's in HD. So yeah, there you can see it. All their symbols.
That's a lot.
This is a lot of
That's
people.
a lot more people than the the few freaking, like when I went to a protest, the few Klansmen that showed up with their horses. It was like 6 of them.
It was disgusting.
Well, it's not that surprising, Johnny, when you look back at the history of the Spanish conquistador.
Yeah, they're imperialists, right?
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's gonna, go up to par with the English, it's gonna be the Spanish. I mean, we are a product of imperialism.
It's funny that Blue Division fought with Hitler during World War II. You know who else fought with Hitler during World War II? The Slovak Party of the Ukraine. Guess who supported them?
Democrats. Joe
Biden.
Yep.
Democrats. Sorry,
we only fight
facts.
Nazis here on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, only Trump and his maggots.
Yeah. The Nazis abroad that want to take over a country, we're going to support them in the Ukraine.
So as you can see in the video, one of the speakers addressed the public dressed in a blue shirt, surrounded by Spanish flags in a few meters. This is that lady.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my spot.
Gross.
It's okay.
She said, it is our supreme obligation to fight for Spain, to fight for Europe, now weak and liquidated by the enemy. The enemy will always be the same, although with different masks.
The Jew.
Wow, which is just disgusting to say. The Jew is a culprit in the Blue Division fought for. I don't even feel comfortable reading that. The event featured a religious service in front of the monolith that recalls the Blue Division in Almudena, and of which a wreath of flowers with a Nazi swastika was placed. So this is, if you guys are going to go read more about this, this is, you can, find out more about this. But this is what's happening in Spain at the same time that they arrest and try to jail
the communists.
The
for songs,
rapper
for songs criticizing the monarchy.
21 tweets.
So don't tell me the monarchy doesn't have a stance in this, then.
Of course,
because if you're freaking arresting the guy for criticizing you and you're letting these people go, I mean, I'm all for free speech. Let them say this, so people like us can be like, "This is gross.
Yeah.
This is nasty. This is real Nazism. This is something you don't stand." Let them say this shit, so people know how disgusting they are and how to oppose them. But also let the fucking rapper criticize the monarchy and free the man, because that's not fair that you're having these two double standards now.
Yeah, you know who you're standing for.
Yeah, you're obviously standing for one side.
And these are reasons too, why Israel will always manufacture consent for doing what they want to do, because the Jews are under attack all over the place. Here you go. It's a vicious fucking cycle that we need to stop.
And there's a whole other thing with some of the people being in Israel who weren't even at all related to the Jews that were attacked, and some of the involvement with Nazism's there too, which blows your mind, but that is also happening too.
We have you want to play something else? I'm going to read this couple super rays real quick, Johnny.
Read the super ray.
All right, so Tom Sand, thank you for the super ray contribution. Why are they messing with Ted? I thought all of Congress was on a well-deserved vacation from the impeachment. It's not like he can pass a bailout, ?
It's true that all of Congress is failing, along with Ted Cruz.
I know, right? Well, he went to Cancun.
Emblem fate.
Yeah, emblem fate.
It's fate.
Emblem fate. Emblem fate. I asked you guys a while back because of Black History Month if you ever looked into it. Great revolutionary Kwame Ture, with all these fake revolutionary Justice Dems, brand new Congress, etc. It's important we show examples of real revolutionary. He has great takes on Zionism and socialism. We'll take a look at him.
Yeah, but they sent an email.
Yes.
We're so busy that
I mean we're so overwhelmed and overloaded. We try to cover as much as we can when we can. But since you're a loving old school supporter, Embald
and
Fateh,
since he says your name wrong all the time,
Embald Fateh, we will definitely look into it because we appreciate what you got,
guys. I just put a link to that Spanish article if you want to see that and see that video, which talks about all this.
Do you have Ron's video, and then I got to make an announcement before we get out of here?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just gonna play a little bit of this. Hey, Fee did something with Ron a few months back, but watch the whole thing on Ron's channel. Here's a little snippet of it.
What up, fam? Daily Loader here, and it's time for another Totez Lit AF episode of Campus Invasion. This week, Ted brings a girl home. Whoa! Will she be his boo-boo, or will he be put in the fried zone? What's that? Oh, friend zone.
Yeah, I've been seeing this girl, Denmark, for a little bit. She's really cool. I like her a lot. We've hung out a few times. I'm excited to bring her home, but I'm a little nervous. My roommates are, yeah. Hey guys, this is my friend Denmark.
Hi.
Is your vagina really wet? Because if so, that's a medical condition.
Wow.
yeah, definitely not a problem.
So go watch it on
That's a
Ron's
little
channel.
snippet there. Is,
Did you put the link in the chat so they can find it? Guys, 86 people watching on Rokfin. We're ending the show now, but if you can go over real quick, sign up for Rokfin. We'd really appreciate it, which will get to us on our next point. Was that it for you, Johnny? Or did you have one more thing?
No, that's it.
All right. What we're talking about right now, we're going to make a quick announcement. We don't have everything together, but we're going to be currently presenting everything. Go over to Rokfin. The reason why we are in Rokfin and we're promoting Rokfin so much is that we've been censored. We've been demonetized on YouTube. So we've decided to kind of join forces with the Action for Assange people on March 17th and March 18th and take action in Washington, D.C. They will be having their Julian Assange marches early. We will follow up with our protest and our march, and we're calling it Fuck Censorship. And the Fuck Censorship movement will be about occupying certain places like CNN, Google, whatnot. There's a lot more to come, a lot more to explain about it, but we as people have to stand up against censorship right now. So if you can do it, it's the St. Patty's Day, come to D.C., find us right there, and we'll be giving Google, CNN, and all these people who are putting their hands over our mouths. This is a very serious issue right now, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to censorship. Censorship is really, really bad because if you silence all dissenting voice, you're then going to put forth another voice, just one voice. And that happens to be the elitists, the oligarchs, whatnot. And if they control the narrative, and I know you people say, well, these are private companies. No, this is the public square. And when these companies started, that's what they started. It was all about freedom of speech. This is America. Whether it's a private company or not does not allow you to just go ahead and censor people at will.
And they're so much more than private companies because they profit. They control so much through their profit. They donate millions and millions of dollars to politicians to get their way. So it's not just like a small time company. They have so much political influence too. So you can't just say that they're just a private company. That doesn't work anymore as an excuse.
It's time for us to stand up. It's time to let these people know we're saying fuck censorship. So join us in D.C. March 17th, March 18th. St. Patty's Day, as we let those big tech companies know enough is enough, right?
Yeah, that's right. Do we have a flyer? Not yet.
I made a flyer. I'm revising it because it was a little busy, but
yeah, we're going to revise everything. We have some stuff.
We're going to put out a flyer. We're going to put out the location, the time, and the dates.
If you're in DC or area,
raise funds for it. Please come out. If you can help us get out there, that helps too. But all that is coming this next upcoming week, and we hope to get on some shows to promote it and have a rainbow coalition over in DC against censorship.
Yes. Big tech aren't private companies. They're extensions of the government. That's what Slow News Day says, and that is such the truth. And so listen, if you can, go over and sign up to be a member for us and endorse at Rokfin. That's going to help us out big time to get over there because there's a lot of expenses to take care of when we go do these actions. We got to get there. We got to stay there. We got to eat. We got to make sure that we organize, get all science together. So every bit that you give us, all these super rays you gave us today really help, and we really do genuinely appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts because we are people-powered. We're not powered by the big people, so therefore we don't have to say what they want us to say. We say what we want to say, and you people support us, and that's why we love you.
Exactly, fam. Thank you so much.
Clip that up. For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s.
Convo out. Johnny Dolphin.
Dolphin 2024. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Peace.
Peace.